Oh no! Ubisoft! How could this happen? Didn't you tell us Assassin's Creed Shadows was a success? That Assassin's Creed Shadows, in fact, sold more than expected? Well, isn't that interesting? How could this happen if that's true? Boys, pat yourselves on the back because once again we were proven right. We called out that Ubisoft is gonna lie about their financial situation, and they are lying, and here we are. Because at the end of the day, you cannot lie about your yearly fiscal reports, and here we are. People who absolutely have no idea how finance works understand easily that minus $1.3 billion in losses because you haven't sold a single copy of any game a year is really bad. But boys, I'm here to tell you how actually bad this is. Because when you understand how these numbers work, what's in them, and how future predictions work, it gets so much worse, okay? The Ubisoft situation is so much worse than people think or say. And I'm going to be explaining it all to you in a very easy form, so don't worry, it's not going to have any long-winded explanation or hard to digest stuff, because it's all actually really simple when you boil it down. And, well, it's really bad also for Ubisoft. So strap yourselves in, get comfy, because, man, this is absolutely a catastrophe. I usually say that AAA companies cannot really go under. They can't go bankrupt. But if there's one company that actually could pull it off, I have been saying this for the last year, it's Ubisoft. Because their situation is just getting worse and worse. So, let's get into the situation. Ubisoft has announced a record 1.3 billion euro operation loss for its financial year ending March 2026. Why is a financial year ending March 2026? Because it's actually everything that goes into 2025, if you're wondering. Net booking dropped 17.4% to 1.5 billion, impacted by underwhelming game launches and development delays. Man, how can this happen? I thought the average Ubisoft game costs only like 100 million to make. Another popular lie, by the way, that Ubisoft says, oh, our games are actually only 100 million to make. Yes, tell that to the IRS. In response, the company implements cost-cutting measures, including the reduction of about 1,200 jobs and 118 million in fixed costs. So, you need to understand, one of the things that makes this so diabolical is the fact that in reality, all of Ubisoft's costs are effectively accrued through just, hiring people and giving them salaries. Ubisoft has already cut jobs, and they are still down 1.3 billion. That's after that's after firing people. Ubisoft is gonna have to fire people more. Now, granted, I'm actually surprised they haven't done it already, because that was something I said, that they're gonna fire more people soon. So they're taking their sweet time with that. Expect that Ubisoft is going to announce another round of layoffs probably in the next upcoming 2 or 3 months. That would seem around right for businesses. Ubisoft and this is the killer, okay? Ubisoft predicted a roughly 10% decline in sales and a high single-digit loss margin for the year 2026, this year, and 2027 fiscal year. So effectively, it's the next year also. But the next year fiscal year is going to be a little bit longer. But anticipates returning to profit and generating possible cash flow by 2027 and 2028. This is insane. There is no company that's gonna lose 17% of its revenue generation in a fucking year. And after that is gonna be like, oh yeah, don't worry about this. We only lost 20% of all of our cash flow, but next year we're gonna be fine. We're gonna make Assassin's Creed Hex, we're gonna make that. Everyone obviously wants to run around as a woman Assassin's Creed person casting spells and being a woke witch and shit. That's obviously gonna sell even better than the Shadows, by the way. So, claiming something like this after this is your pretty much one of your worst years ever, but after a year you're gonna be profitable once again is diabolic. Ubisoft has nothing to stem the bleeding. I mean, what are they gonna do? Release another expansion for a Skull and Bones? You know, your female pirate LARP simulator game that literally no one played? Or maybe you're gonna release another expansion for Assassin's Creed Shadows, something that didn't sell a single copy and now currently is literally getting roughly only 2k average concurrent players per day. Per day! And by the way, we made fun of Skull and Bones, but actually if you look at the Skull and Bones situation, Skull and Bones only had a 2.6k peak player count on Steam when it launched. And currently it's getting a peak of 1.5k players in a day. It's almost as big as Assassin's Creed Shadows, so maybe they should actually launch an expansion for Skull and Bones, because it would be smarter than losing money on Assassin's Creed at this point. Oh my god. And when you look at everything else that Ubisoft has, it's not looking good. They're pretty much only impact that creates money is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and it's getting worse and worse there because, needless to say, no one really wants to buy the trans operators, and yes, that's a real thing, by the way, in the game. There are multiple LGBTQ blah 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 friendly operators. After it's whatever the hell this is, The Division 2, still somehow going, even I think all support for this has been cancelled at this point. Odyssey has 2 times more players than Assassin's Creed Shadows on average. Valhalla has, still more. And Origins has also more. Oh my god. And the only thing that Ubisoft is going to be releasing that people care about is effectively Black Flag. And that's going pretty woke pretty fast. There's a lot of things. Ubisoft did their grand restructuring and they have like 5 different branches that are supposed to make games. And only 2 of them have been officially announced. The other 3 are kind of sitting there and doing nothing because Ubisoft has nothing. And even this is stupid because if you pause and pay attention, this is literally your typical way that any company functions. It's just they decided to rename. They decided just to rename departments into houses, studios, or whatever the hell this was. So it's just a waste of time and a bunch of buzzwords. Also, I finally get to talk about this. This is Ubisoft's newest game. I know, you have never heard of it, you have never seen it, because it peaked a month ago when it was released with a 1k peak. And this is by Ubisoft. I know the developer is Screen Juice, but when you click at Screen Juice, you understand that they literally have not done anything except this. So, Ubisoft effectively made a game under a shell company that literally no one fucking played. Now, granted, it seems at least that people don't hate it, but the fact that it has a 1k peak and 1k total reviews seems a lot sus, honestly. And if you're wondering what that game is, well, I mean, here it is. We can watch the trailer if you would like.
From the rubble of this broken world, I have created you. Weapons made of cold and shattered memories.
I think I'm gonna go. Okay, see? Wow! Wow! So if you're thinking Warframe, then no, this is not Warframe. This is effectively the most generic garbage dumpster fire you have ever seen in your life. this is the most generic game ever. It's only missing that generic cartoon-esque style. For some reason it decided it wants to look like Warframe. But just from the gameplay, you can see that, I mean, this is generic as fuck. And it's an Ubisoft game, which means it's probably and ironically Ubisoft's best game in the past decade and a half, but it's still bad. It's still bad. And this is what's happening. And Ubisoft's not even going to talk about the fact that they literally made this game. Again, it's just a shell company that Ubisoft effectively probably paid for, because Ubisoft is just desperate. They have nothing. They have no future plans. All of it is bad. And people are, by the way, obviously relentlessly mocking them. Yasuke, go woke, go broke. Very good. Ubisoft get comfortable not owning games, based and real. I mean, there is not a single person supporting Ubisoft. And I think the more news we get about Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, resync, because quirky and unique and shit, the worse it's gonna get. We already know that in that game, all the women of the night are fat, and it's just gonna be woke shit. You know it's true. You know it's true. Ubisoft is absolutely dead, and I find it absolutely hilarious that every single Ubisoft company is for some reason actually named in the development of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is it's just hilarious. In any case, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Subscribe, like the video. Takes less than a second, and have a nice day. Bye.